Since ancient times, Greek mythology has told humanity stories of mighty gods, indomitable heroes, and battles ablaze with fire and blood. Zeus with thunderbolts in hand, Poseidon stirring the seas with his trident, Athena guiding wars with wisdom, all painted a majestic picture of power and strength. Yet from the Stoic perspective, something striking emerges. That power, however dazzling, still lies beyond human reach. For mankind cannot command thunder or tame the oceans. The only thing we truly govern is our own soul. Stoicism teaches that self-mastery is the truest strength, while external power is nothing more than passing wind. Consider the tale of Heracles, the greatest of heroes. He conquered beasts, endured terrifying trials, and completed 12 immortal labors. Yet in the end, Heracles could not escape tragedy. Driven mad by Hera's curse, he killed his own family, condemned to bear endless tasks of atonement. Through a Stoic lens, this tragedy reminds us, no outward victory can compensate for the loss of inner control. True strength is not in subduing the world, but in subduing one's own passions and fury. If Heracles had remained calm before pain and provocation, perhaps his tragedy would never have unfolded. In myth, Prometheus dared to steal fire from the gods and give it to humanity. For this, he was bound to the rocks, his liver devoured daily by an eagle. To the Stoics, this story is a metaphor, humanity's endless desire to control what does not belong to us, and the suffering that follows. Yet Prometheus also symbolizes indomitable spirit, accepting bodily torment, yet keeping his soul free. His freedom did not lie in breaking chains, but in enduring pain without surrender. That is the strength Stoicism upholds, not external power, but inner liberty, which no god can ever take away. Even Zeus, the king of the gods, was not entirely free. He was often ruled by desire, jealousy, and fear of losing power. Many divine wars began from nothing more than the rage or lust of gods themselves. A Stoic would see in this a paradox. One who holds the cosmos can still be a slave to his own emotions. And if gods could lose self-control, then all the more must humans learn discipline. Stoicism teaches that calmness and self-mastery are the only throne that truly lasts. A Roman emperor like Marcus Aurelius knew this well. In the chaos of war, he wrote that the only thing we can control is our thoughts and actions. Greek mythology overflows with tragedies born from unchecked desire. Paris, for the beauty of Helen, lit the spark that burned into the Trojan War, a decade of blood and loss for thousands. Achilles, blinded by fury at Patroclus' death, hurled himself into battle for vengeance, only to fall to his fated heel. Through the Stoic lens, these stories are not just legends, but warnings. True strength does not lie in muscle, nor in mighty armies, but in mastery of the soul. For those who cannot govern themselves are chained by fate, and the price is often tragedy. In the story of Odysseus, the hero faced countless temptations and dangers on his journey home to Ithaca. He endured the enchanting songs of the sirens, islands filled with deadly traps, the wrath of Poseidon, and the seductions of Circe and Calypso. Yet beyond the power of his sword or his cunning mind, what truly defined Odysseus' victory was self-mastery. When confronted with the sirens' voices, he did not surrender to desire. He chose to bind himself to the mast, holding firm against temptation. This is a living testament to the Stoic truth. True freedom does not come from chasing pleasure, but from mastering oneself in the face of it. Another example is found in the tale of Icarus. Gifted wings of wax by his father Daedalus to escape the labyrinth, he was warned not to fly too close to the sun. But arrogance and the hunger for boundless freedom drowned out wisdom. The wax melted, and Icarus fell into the sea. To the Stoics, this is a profound metaphor. When desire escapes control, it destroys us. Self-mastery does not mean abandoning ambition, but knowing its limits, so that aspiration does not turn into chains. Greek mythology shows that many heroes fell not to stronger enemies, but to their own arrogance, greed, or anger. Agamemnon, in his pride, insulted Achilles, igniting a feud that prolonged the war. Oedipus, unable to escape the fear and destiny within his own soul, walked himself into tragedy. The Stoics remind us, the greatest enemy is not outside, it is within. If we cannot overcome our own weakness, greed, and rage, then all victories beyond are empty. From the Stoic lens, Greek mythology does not deny the grandeur of heroic deeds, but it asks, after the glory fades, what remains of the man? Achilles is immortal in epic, but he still fell because he could not master his anger. Paris is remembered for romance, yet he doomed all of Troy. Even the gods themselves, seemingly immortal, were caught in the whirlwinds of lust and rivalry. This reveals a timeless truth. True strength lies not in defeating others, but in overcoming oneself. To the Stoics, Greek mythology is not merely entertainment or praise of heroes, but a mirror reflecting the limits of human nature. It shows us the fragility of the mighty without self-control, and the enduring strength of those who live with calm and mastery. And so Stoicism urges us, learn from both the triumphs and the tragedies of myth. See that the real battlefield is not out there, but within. And whoever conquers that inner battle, only that person is a true hero. The image of Perseus in his battle with the monster Medusa offers a profound Stoic lesson. Medusa embodied ultimate fear. A single glance into her eyes would turn a person to stone. Yet Perseus triumphed not through brute force, but through clarity and wisdom. By using his polished shield to reflect Medusa's image, he avoided the deadly trap of her gaze. To the Stoic, this is a symbol of self-mastery, not allowing oneself to be consumed by fear, but remaining calm enough to find a solution. In life, fear is much like Medusa. The more we stare at it without clarity, the easier we become paralyzed. Only self-control and clear vision allow us to move beyond it. The story of Theseus, who defeated the Minotaur within the labyrinth, also reflects Stoic wisdom. The half-man, half-bull monster was not only a terrifying creature, but also a symbol of humanity's wild instincts and primal urges. Theseus overcame it thanks to Ariadne's thread, a symbol of reason and direction. The Stoic would say the labyrinth is the human mind, where we easily lose ourselves in ambition, desire, and fear. Only by following the thread of reason, strengthened through self-discipline, can we find the way out. To defeat the Minotaur was not just to slay a beast, but to conquer the inner darkness within ourselves. Greek mythology also warns of the downfall born of arrogance. Niobe, a mother who boasted of having more children than the goddess Leto, was punished when her children were struck down. The Stoic sees arrogance as a loss of self-mastery. When people place their worth above the order of nature, they separate themselves from the harmony of the cosmos and pay the price. Self-control, in Stoic thought, is not only the regulation of emotion, but also the recognition of one's place in the whole. Those who live with humility live in harmony. Those ruled by pride dig their own graves. The tale of Orpheus, the musician whose song could move even the underworld, reveals both the power and limits of humanity. Orpheus, with his music, persuaded Hades to release his wife Eurydice and nearly succeeded. But in the final moment, unable to restrain himself, he turned back and lost her forever. To the Stoic, this tragedy shows that a single lapse of self-control can undo everything. No matter how powerful love or art may be, without mastery over impatience and desire, one will fall. It is a timeless reminder. Sometimes, self-control is not only what determines the outcome, but also what gives meaning to the journey itself. Finally, Greek myth tells of Pandora, the woman who opened the forbidden box and unleashed every calamity into the world. The only thing left inside was hope. The Stoic reads this tale as an allegory of the human condition. We cannot escape hardship, suffering, illness, or death. But what we can control is our attitude. Hope is not naive dreaming, but the conviction that we can remain composed amidst the storm. Self-mastery allows us to turn Pandora's box into a lesson. The external world may be harsh, but the inner world, if fortified, remains an unbreakable fortress. The stories of Achilles inspire awe for his extraordinary strength, but they also haunt us with a reminder of human fragility when self-control is lost. Achilles was an undefeated warrior, save for his fateful heel. But what truly destroyed him was not the arrow, but his own rage. When his beloved companion Patroclus fell, Achilles allowed hatred to consume him, charging into battle like a fire that could not be quenched. In that moment, Achilles was no longer master of himself, but a slave to his emotions. The Stoics would say, physical might or legendary victories do not make a true hero. Only the shield of self-mastery can do that. The tale of Ajax, who lost the contest for Achilles' armor, is another tragic lesson in the cost of lost control. Ajax was brave, but when insulted and dishonored, he could not contain his fury. In madness, he slaughtered cattle instead of enemies, and in despair, ended his own life. The Stoic sees this as proof that even the greatest glory can collapse in an instant when the soul has no discipline. True honor does not come from defeating others, but from conquering oneself. Sisyphus, condemned to push a boulder up a mountain only to watch it roll back down forever, embodies the futility of existence. Yet through the Stoic lens, his punishment becomes something more, a reminder that while we cannot control fate, we can control our attitude. If Sisyphus accepted his task with composure, the rock would no longer be a burden. It would become a tool to strengthen the spirit. The Stoic lesson is simple. Do not try to change what is beyond your power. Change how you perceive it. Even punishment can transform into a lesson in resilience. The story of Bellerophon, the hero who rode Pegasus to defeat the Chimera, also carries a warning. At first, he symbolized courage and clarity, but after his triumphs, arrogance overtook him. He sought to ride Pegasus all the way to Olympus, to stand as an equal to the gods. Zeus punished him by sending a gadfly to sting Pegasus, casting Bellerophon down to live the rest of his days in disgrace. For the Stoics, this shows that pride is the enemy of self-mastery, and when pride rules the soul, all outward victories become meaningless. Finally, Greek mythology gives us Atlas, condemned to bear the weight of the heavens on his shoulders. He could never escape this burden, but through Stoic eyes, Atlas becomes a symbol of steadfast endurance. Each of us carries our own sky, responsibilities, hardships, pain. We cannot throw them off, but we can choose how we carry them. To the Stoics, self-mastery does not mean denying the weight, but shouldering it calmly, without complaint. Atlas may have been bound in body, but in his resolve, he stands as an eternal image of inner strength. a strength no god can take away. In Greek mythology, the figure of Hector in the Trojan War stands as a symbol of responsibility and courage. Unlike Achilles, who fought for personal glory, Hector fought to protect his family and his city. Even knowing he was marching toward death, he chose to face Achilles head-on. For him, honor was not measured by victory, but by fulfilling his duty. Through the Stoic lens, Hector becomes the embodiment of true self-mastery, not letting fear dictate his choices, not letting the desire for a longer life outweigh his integrity. To live with self-control is to walk to the very end with the values you hold sacred, even if that road leads to death. Another powerful example is Antigone in Sophocles' tragedy. When King Creon forbade the burial of her brother, Antigone chose to obey divine law rather than human decree. She accepted death in order to preserve loyalty and dignity. The Stoics would see this as a profound illustration. We cannot control the power of rulers, but we can always control our own actions and attitudes. Antigone refused to let fear shackle her soul. In that defiance, she became a symbol of inner freedom, a force that no law can erase. The story of Phaethon, son of Helios, offers the opposite lesson. Eager to prove himself, Phaethon begged to drive his father's chariot of the sun. But once in control, he could not master the divine horses. The result was disaster. Earth scorched, chaos unleashed, before Zeus struck him down with a thunderbolt. For the Stoics, this myth warns of the danger of ambition without discipline. Courage without reason leads only to ruin. The lesson is clear. Not everything lies within our power, and true strength comes from knowing our limits, what is ours to govern and what is not. The tale of Orestes, driven to avenge his father by killing his mother, shows the torment of a soul consumed by vengeance. Haunted by guilt and pursued by the Furies, Orestes descends into madness. The Stoics would point out that once we allow anger and hatred to rule us, we are no longer masters of our lives. We become puppets of fate. True freedom of spirit comes when we release hatred, accept the order of the universe, and act according to reason. Had Orestes embraced composure, his story might not have spiraled into endless tragedy. Finally, the story of Cadmus, the founder of Thebes, reveals the paradox of creation through chaos. After slaying the dragon and sowing its teeth into the earth, Cadmus watched as warriors sprang up, only to slay one another. From that bloodshed, a city was born. For the Stoics, this is a vivid metaphor for life. From suffering, loss, and turmoil, new order can emerge. Cadmus's strength was not in avoiding pain, but in transforming it into the foundation of something greater. That is the essence of self-mastery, not fleeing from adversity, but standing firm within it, to uncover deeper meaning. The myths of Greece also tell us of Persephone, the maiden taken into the underworld by Hades. Her mother, Demeter, in her grief, cast the earth into a frozen winter, and only when Persephone returned did life bloom again. Through the Stoic lens, this story reminds us that life itself turns in cycles of loss and reunion, of sorrow and joy. We cannot hold on to spring forever, just as we cannot prevent the arrival of winter. But we can learn to hold balance within, so that no matter what season we walk through, we do not lose our calm. Self-mastery here is the acceptance of nature's rhythm, neither clinging in vain nor despairing when change comes. The tale of Jason and the Argonauts, on their quest for the Golden Fleece, reflects humanity's deep hunger for meaning and the trials along the way. Jason and his crew faced monsters, treacherous landscapes, and endless perils. Yet Jason's downfall was not an enemy from without, but betrayal and desire from within. The Stoics would say, the longest journey is not across the sea, but into one's own soul. The golden fleece is but a symbol. The true prize is mastery of the self, the highest treasure a human being can ever attain. In myth, we also meet Tantalus, punished because he let greed lead him astray. He stood in a pool of water, yet every time he bent to drink, it receded. Sweet fruit hung above him, yet always slipped away. This is the image of humanity enslaved by desire, forever hungry, forever unsatisfied, even while surrounded by plenty. The Stoic lesson in Tantalus is clear. Happiness is not in having more, but in knowing enough. Only when the soul is freed from endless craving can we escape the invisible punishment of insatiable want. The story of Narcissus, the youth who fell in love with his own reflection until he wasted away beside the water, is an eternal warning. To the Stoics, Narcissus embodies the danger of vanity, of being imprisoned by one's own image while forgetting real life. Self-mastery, in this light, is guarding against illusions, refusing to be ruled by pride or self-adoration. Only when we master the ego can we unleash the true strength within. Looking across these myths through the Stoic perspective, a single truth resounds. Real power is not in conquering the world, but in conquering oneself. Gods and heroes, however mighty, fell when they lost self-control. But those who remained calm, who lived with wisdom and inner freedom, proved to be the true victors. Myth, then, is not only ancient storytelling, it is a mirror held up to our own lives today. We still wrestle with desire, pride, and fear, and we too must practice self-mastery as they once did. And the Stoic lesson endures. Self-control is eternal strength, the lamp that lights humanity's path through every age.